Listening, Part 2. You will hear an interview with an Australian girl called Verity, who has recently been on a student exchange program. For each question, choose the correct answer A, B or C. You now have 45 seconds to look at the questions for Part 2. Now we are ready to start. Listen carefully. You will hear the recording twice.
With me in the studio is Verity Meehan, who's recently returned from a 6-month exchange program with a family in the Netherlands. That's a long way from home, Verity. Why did you choose to do your exchange program there?
Well, none of my friends have been there or anything like that, but my grandfather spent some time there when he was young, and he said I should visit one day, and I'd planned to do that as soon as I could. So when I had the opportunity to go to Europe, it seemed like the obvious place to go.
But you were only 15. Was there anything you found difficult about living in a foreign country?
Well, the family I stayed with in the Netherlands were really kind, and I wasn't lonely because I shared a room with one of their daughters. She helped me get used to my new routine, made sure I got up in time and things like that. The only thing that was hard was the 1-kilometre bike ride to school every day. I enjoyed it in the summer, but in winter it was terrible.
So when you arrived, what did you notice straight away about the Netherlands?
Well, I remember the first few hours really clearly. I knew the weather wouldn't be warm because it was winter, but it wasn't as bad as I'd thought it would be. The family met me at the airport and we drove to their village. I was a bit disappointed by the countryside. It looks much nicer in summer, but I was so excited when I saw all the old buildings there. They looked exactly how I thought they would.
And what was the school like?
It was okay because there were a lot of classes in English, and they gave me projects to do when there were subjects in Dutch I couldn't understand. The school was very modern and much bigger than most schools in Australia. The library was fantastic, and they also had a lot more science labs than my school at home.
What about the students?
Oh, they were really friendly. They gave me lots of advice about places I should visit. They'd all travelled a lot more than me, although no one had been to Australia. But what I found really strange was that they'd never thought about going away from their families for several months like me. Some of them couldn't understand how I could do that.
So, is this an experience you'd recommend?
Oh, definitely. I think 6 months was the right amount of time. I needed that amount of time to learn the language. But after 6 months, I really needed to see my parents. I was so happy to see them again.